23. Approval of the agenda, please. Councilor Norbury.
That the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Dussault. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of minutes for September 5th, 2023 regular council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Dussault.
That the September 5th, 2023 regular council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Any errors or omissions? Seconder, Councilor Norbury. All in favor? Carried. September 12th, 2023 special council meeting minutes. Recommendation, please. Councilor Dussault.
That the September 12th, 2023 special council meeting minutes be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Norbury. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Carried. Business arising from the minutes, Council? Staff? Okay. Consent agenda. Recommendation. Councilor Norbury.
That all items in the October 3rd, 2023 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder, Councilor Clickash. All in favor? Carried. Are there any items the council would like to bring forward for discussion? Councilor Julik.
I just wanted to comment on 7.5 last year. For discussion. Sorry,
Second.
7.5 for
Councilor Norbury.
discussion. Last year, we had a pretty good contingent of our high school students go to Victoria for this. And my youngest has been a part of this, and it's just a really great program, and the community has supported them wholeheartedly to go, and so I just wanted to bring it out so that I could give it some extra special attention. It's a pretty cool opportunity for the kids in the community to go and spend some time in Victoria and in a parliamentary setting and learn some things and do some service, because it's considered a service club. So anyways, it's pretty awesome. So I hope that they get a good contingent going again this year.
Yep, agree. Mr. Woodward, do we know if the school has received this?
I don't know yet at this point.
Okay.
I'll follow up with Jack.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. So I guess if they haven't, if we could just pass it on to school, because I think it's a great opportunity, and if we can get some youth that want to be involved. I mean, I know, like Councilor Julik had mentioned to me, the community really supported the fundraising events and stuff, and I think it's a great opportunity for our youth.
Okay. I'll follow up on that.
Thanks. Anything else council would like to bring forward for discussion? I'd like to bring 7.6 for discussion. Seconder, Councilor Noxana. Again, I think just like Councilor Julik did, I think it is great to see them reach back out in regards to the Dawes Creek Haven Family Services, just to let council be aware that they have, reached out to the residents to see if there'd be any uptick and stuff like that if they were to bring the services to Tumbler. And at this time, they don't see it viable. So I think if it does, I think they'll come forward again. So I just appreciate them reaching out to myself and staff, and then coming in as a delegation to inform council of the concept. So if we can just send a thank you letter from staff from us, please, to Dawes Creek Haven Family Services for approaching us, for trying to bring that service to our community, and if we can just thank them for acknowledging that.
Can you make that a motion? We'll make sure we follow up with
Yeah,
that.
I'll make a motion that staff sends a letter thanking Dawes Creek Haven Family Services for looking at Tumbler Ridge to come as in person for our residents. The seconder, Councilor Norbury. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, new business amendment to the 2024 budget process calendar. Report dated October 3rd, 2023 from the Director of Finance regarding the amendment to the 2024 budget process calendar. Recommendation? Councilor Norbury.
That council approves the amended 2024 budget calendar as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Clickash. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. 9.2, water slide replacement. Report dated October 3rd, 2023, from the Director of Community Services and Facilities regarding the water slide replacement. Recommendation. I'll make a recommendation that council approves moving the remaining unused capital budget from golf course eaves and snow break, weight room accessibility access, and aquatic center pool grouting of $60,564.32 towards the water slide replacement. Seconder, Councilor Noberry. Discussion. Councilor Julik.
I guess I'm just looking for some clarification. So when they say it's unused, does that mean that the work wasn't done, or that the work was done and we had $60,000 left over because it was estimated high?
Mr. Woodward.
Yes, thank you. Director of Community Service can respond to that.
Mayor and Council, yes, so what we did is we complete all those projects, and there was some funding left, so we decided to put towards the slide to get the project done.
Follow up?
Awesome.
Okay. Any more discussion? I guess my only question would be to staff, Mr. Woodward, with moving this budget amount of over budget funds, are we looking to have that done this year?
Yes, we are. I've already discussed, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Yes, we're going to do the project this year, finish it off.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, 9.3, 2023 TR Old Timers Hockey Club lease renewal. Report dated October 3rd, 2023, from the Facilities Manager regarding 2023 TR Old Timers Hockey Club lease renewal. Recommendation, Councilor Noberry.
Thank you, Mayor Kahl. I'm going to move one of the alternatives to the recommendation, that council directs administration to renew the TR Old Timers Hockey Club lease agreement for a 5-year term commencing October 1st, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2028, at a rate of $1,000 with a 2% increase each year.
Okay, seconder. Councilor Clickash. Discussion. Councilor Noberry. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Kakaka. So the reason why I'm moving the alternative to the recommendation is that the explanation that the TR Old Timers gave, to me at least, I felt that it was reasonable enough to try and accommodate them. It's in their letter, but I mean, when they came in, they said that their attendance is down and it is a burden for them. So I'd like to see us do what we can to accommodate a nonprofit organization in our community. Thanks.
Thanks. Councilor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. The only question I had is why this is going to... Is this going to be a standard thing that we're doing 5-year leases? Because as I understood it was supposed to be a 3-year with 2-year extension is how we usually do that. But in this case, we're doing just straight 5. And this, do we run afoul? And the other thing I had is they asked for the 10-year. Did we see anything that keeps us from doing 10-year leases?
So I can speak to a couple of those things. So council can do up to 5 years, so you can either do the 3 or the 2. A 10-year, we can't do. It'd have to go out to the public to have a vote. That was one of the questions I asked. Is same reason why you're asking is that was one of the asks by the old timers to try and lessen the staff time and stuff like that. But a 10-year is not possible. I know staff looked into it. Okay. Staff had mentioned that we could do it, or they thought we could, but we've looked into it, and the only way to do that would be sending it back out for a vote referendum.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, I got just a couple comments. Councilor Noberry, I mean, it's not that I want to echo what you've said, but to me, when we have an organization that comes forward and they talk about some of the hardship they're seeing as well, and I think the pandemic took a hit on some of that as well. But to me, when they give back to our community through our high school and stuff, through scholarships, they help out the youth, whether it's skates or whatever. Some of these individuals that play old timers are reffing, coaching. I think it's something, 100% that I would support the motion on the floor for those reasons. It's not because they're adults and can afford it. It's to try and get these individuals in our community to join their organization. And I think this assists them keeping the cost down for them to be able to do that. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. 9.4, Development Variance Permit Application. Report dated October 3rd, 2023, from the Director of Protective Services regarding Development Variance Permit Application 140 Birch Ave. Recommendation, please. Councillor Dussault.
That council authorizes administration to proceed with the development and variance permit application submitted for 140 Birch Avenue, Lot 66, Plan PGP 28289.
Seconder. Councillor Hoffman. Discussion. Councillor Julik.
I thought we had put a hiatus on all of this stuff. Am I misunderstanding what they're asking for here?
Yeah, so what they're looking at doing is adding on to their front of their house, not expanding property lines at the of district-owned land behind their houses. It's to add on to make their porch bigger. I don't think we didn't put any, I know at this time, when it comes to lot expansion, council has decided to hold that off until we get more information back to council to see what some of the residents have done, just to see if it's something that this council wants to continue. This is something totally different. It's an add-on to the porch. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. So I know that this has been done in the past. When I was looking house hunting recently, I was in a house that had this, and I'm in a house that doesn't have it, and I can definitely appreciate why someone would want to expand their foyer entryway, and yeah, I support it. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I guess I just ask, and the reason I'm going to ask this to staff is we're going through zoning, or re-looking at the zoning bylaw and working through that process. And I can't remember it all, and maybe council will remember, and I don't have to ask staff, and we can go to a councillor. If this is something we're looking at adding to that zoning bylaw so it doesn't have to come back before council. So to me, it seems like most of our residential houses that were built in the 83, 84, your front entrance is very tight. It's very tight for first responders. It's very tight for residents themselves and stuff like that. And I think that's what Councilor Norbury was mentioning. So I'm not sure if council remembers seeing that within that zoning. Okay, I'm going to go to staff. Mr. Woodward, if you could just, if it's not something in our zoning, is it something that I know we're in the draft part of that? If it's not in it, is it something that's worth adding to it if it's not already there?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mayor and Council. It is, so we could eliminate the variance development permit in this particular case, because if it's going to be a consistent factor, then we should definitely do that in the zoning bylaw. But there'll always be variance development permit applications. Not necessarily this type, but there'll be lots of them. There always is. I shouldn't say lots. We'll have to consider any one that comes forward.
Yeah, I agree that's one of the applications that residents have. I know that there's, I believe there's one or a couple already in our community, and it seems to me that more and more people have been talking about this in regards to that. So to me, when we're looking at doing that zoning bylaw, that if this is something that council wants to look at, how do we do it?
Sorry, what's that? Do you want Dustin to talk? Okay. Maybe the fire chief can respond to that. Would you like to give that a whirl, please?
Certainly, Mr. Woodward. Mayor and Council, good evening. So in this specific case, this has to do the variance to the front parcel line to the front of the house. When the houses were built, as the mayor said, in 82, 83, the distance in the zoning bylaw was greater. So now if that's council's wish and we want to eliminate this and allow for these front abutments or anything like that to come out, we would have to change that in the zoning bylaw. To my knowledge, I don't believe that principal line, the front parcel line, has been changed in the zoning bylaw. We're waiting to get the actual draft, and once we can review that, we can certainly bring that change back if that's council's wish. We can include that.
I guess before I go with rest council, would there be any negative impact in shortening the distance from the town side to the front of the house? I guess that's what I'm looking at. Is there a negative impact there? If anybody would know? I think Councilor Clickash.
Yes, Your Worship. Some of the lots in, especially the corner lots in R2, they are already at 4.5 meters. So if you allowed them to go another 2 meters into the setback, you would wind up with hardly anything left in the front yard. So I think this is the proper way of doing it, is just by application, and rather than making a broad determination on that.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councillor Clerkash. Councillor Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't see the harm in looking into this. There might be other applications for expansion or other things that people want to do that say a 6-meter setback might work with or not. I don't recall, to answer your earlier question, talking about the variances when we were looking at our new zoning bylaws. We talked about height, but I don't believe we talked about clearance from property lines on any of the any sides. And I think it's something that we overlooked. I think we should look into that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I guess just back to staff, do we need a motion to make sure we don't lose distraction, to make sure we have a look at that draft policy? Mr. Woodward?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor and Council, yeah, I believe you should make a motion so that we review that, so that we don't miss that. It's a very specific thing, and it needs to be recognized when we're doing our zoning bylaw.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll put a motion on the floor that we have staff look at the setbacks in regards to zoning bylaw draft. Seconder? Councillor Hoffman, discussion? All in favor? Carried. Hang on a second, we just put two motions on the floor again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 3 times for me in a year, in less than a year. Okay, let's walk me through this process a second time.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, let's defeat the last motion, and then do your original motion on the development permit,
Okay.
and then come back to the second motion.
Going to pull the last motion up for reconsideration. My reason would be that we already had a motion on the floor. So I think we'll do a reconsideration because we have new information. And I would suggest we defeat this motion. So all in favor? We need to defeat, so we're still, so the motion's still on the floor that we direct staff to add this, so we need to not vote in favor. Yes, you were, sorry, thank you. Yeah, you're good. Okay, thanks, Councilor Norbury. A vote to reconsider. All in favor? Thanks, Councilor Norbury. Oh, yeah, seconder. Councilor Julik. Yeah, whatever. No, that's good. So that motion is back on the floor, and this is the one we would not want to support. So all in favor? Opposed? Okay, defeated. Okay, so we still have one motion on the floor. I guess that's what happens when we start debating. So I'll have to try to keep an eye on that. Maybe if staff can give the whip to me if I try to put a second motion at the same time. So the motion on the floor is that council authorize the administration to proceed with the development variance permit application submitted for 140 Birch Ave, lot 66, plan PGP 282A9. Okay, it's been seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, I'll put another motion on the floor. That we have staff look at the setback in regards to the zoning bylaw draft and bring forward to council. Seconder, Councillor Hoffman. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. TR 55 grant management policy for adoption, report dated October 3rd, 2023, from the Deputy Corporate Officer seeking the adoption of the grant management policy. Recommendation, please. Councillor Dussault?
That council adopts the TR 55 grant management policy as presented.
Seconder, Councillor Noxana. Discussion, Councillor Julik.
First, I'd like to apologize because I wasn't on the ball at our policies and priorities meeting when this one come up, because when I read it again, I had a few more questions. So the grant manager is designated by the chief financial officer. And so I can probably get through that part. It just feels like we're having, because that, sorry, let me go back down further, because then part of my concerns on this is our timelines, in the fact that our current CFO is not full-time in town hall, from what I understand. We're on a 4-on, 4-off, or however that the schedule is, so that the CFO is not here full-time.
So just to understand, if we can just be careful how we discuss staff.
Yeah, I'm just, but Is that, okay,
We just got to be careful that when we're talking about staff, whether it's staff's contracts and stuff like, we can move to close to do that without an issue. You can just make a motion and go to close. And if we don't have it under, I believe we have closed under labor tonight, we can move it to close right now under that same one to have that open discussion, if that's what you need.
okay, I would like to move this to closed then. I'd like to make a motion that we move 9.5 to closed.
Just give me a second here, sorry. Okay, so give me a second. Can we get the charter number for closed for labor?
91C.
91C?
91C.
Okay. Okay, so I'll put the motion.
Not yet, because we still have another motion on the floor.
That's fine. This
Oh,
motion now trumps it into closed. If you're
Okay.
going to, if you're going to openly discuss that, we need to be in closed. It's a thing. So I'm going to make a motion that October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting be closed to the public according to section 91C. And I'll need a seconder. Councillor Dussault. Just for discussion, we'll come right back to open to finish the open agenda before we go back to close. Right? Just so council's aware of that. So we're going to talk about that. We have to go into close, but we'll have to come back out. Councillor Noxena?
I just want to clarify, we're only discussing some points of this policy. We're not approving this policy in closed.
Correct. It'll only be whatever, it has to be enclosed, which when we're going into that labor concept or talking about an employee, we need to be enclosed for it. We just don't want to do it in open and tread that water, in my opinion. So nothing in the for open will be discussed and closed. Okay, question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. If we can go to close, please. Okay, I'm going to call the open back to order. Councillor Julik, you had another question?
Yes, 5.3.1 says the CFO appointed by council. And my understanding is we do not appoint the CFO. We do I know that there's a procedure, but we ultimately do not have the decision on the CFO.
Yeah, so we don't do the exact hiring for senior staff, but in regards to the CFO, she is appointed, or sorry, that position is appointed by council. So once somebody is hired as a CFO, it's brought forward by staff, we actually appoint. So we either agree or we disagree with that, and then staff would have to figure that out. But we do appoint. It's a process, which we would have done when the CFO was hired.
So then I would just say I'm looking for some reassurance that there will be no timeline delays, just because I know how when you get a grant, sometimes it's a 1 week thing. And so my concern is that this procedure not get in the way of grants being applied for
Okay.
on a last minute basis.
Mr. Woodward?
Thank you. I'll ask the CFO to answer that, but from the administration side, there's never any delay, right? We're on top of all grants all the time, but I'll let the CFO respond as well.
Mayor, to Councillor Julik. I've been utilizing this policy in my past practice, and it never has. There's ways to fast track. The only one that sometimes becomes a glitch is some of the grants require a council resolution to go with it. You can usually phone and ask that be sent in afterwards, or we have to have a special meeting. That tends to be more of the pinch point that comes up from it.
Follow up, you're good?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay. I'm just going to make a comment. I don't have a question, actually. I think it's something new, something interesting to see, something interesting to read. That, to me, I wonder if that'll help us capture more of those grants that are out there. When you just have other people looking as well, and not just all the other staff, but somebody dialoguing some of it. I really think that maybe we'll have a pulse on maybe more opportunities for grants. So I totally support the motion. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, 9.6, schedule of meetings. Anything from council? Sorry, as I shift, I got some stuff here. Okay, a couple things from my side. One thing I think we need to talk about is Let's Talk. I know we talked about doing it as an overview / debrief in regards to the forest fire and the evacuation. I know staff needs 2 weeks to advertise it for when we're going to do a Let's Talk. I know council had discussed a couple different options, whether we do a barbecue and then go into a Let's Talk, or if we're just doing a Let's Talk. Just kind of what council's thoughts are. My thoughts would be the week of the 23rd to the 27th or the 28th, somewhere in there. What council thoughts are there? Councillor Noxana?
I couldn't do the 24th, but I could do any other time that week.
Okay. What about the rest of council? Open? Okay. Now, what is council's thoughts? We just want to do a Let's Talk like we did previously with some light finger foods and drinks, beverages, or I know that there was the plan, there was the thought, came from staff, and stuff like that about, we had the opportunity or the thought of doing a welcome home and stuff. It was really hard to do to me in July and August, probably even September with the fire conditions out there, not knowing if we were going to have concern. I mean, in the north, they had concerns up past Fort St. John in Donnie Creek area, the fire zone there. So what's council's thoughts there on what we want to see for that Let's Talk? Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I think just having the traditional Let's Talk forum of we just have some finger foods that people can eat beforehand and we can socialize after we have the presentation, but that would be my thoughts on continuing that.
Yep. Is that good with the rest of council?
With chicken wings.
Councillor Julik.
I'm on the same page as Councillor Norbury. I'm fine with just some finger food and stuff. I think October just brings an indeterminate weather. We could be barbecuing in the snow. What I would like to maybe ask about is inviting some other people to, like, what does that look like? Specifically at our healthcare task force meeting, we discussed some pieces around what that looked like for Northern Health when we did that. So I was wondering if we could invite some other agencies. I see Councillor Norbury's got a bit of a question mark on his face. And so to expand a bit more on that, it was about our vulnerable people in the community and how were they captured and how did we make sure that they were there. And so Northern Health, Ms. Borton had some answers for us at that meeting. So I just thought that might be good to have some other folks there, as well as to thank them for the work that they did, whether it's the RCMP or, and the fire hall and stuff. But maybe that's another kind of a thank you thing for staff. But I don't know. I think it's worth having the discussion about whether or not they attend.
Okay, yeah, appreciate the comments. Let's make a couple comments to that. I know I've kind of mentioned to council, I mean, you can mention it one-offs, but in a meeting, BC Wildfire Service met with them at the EBCM. A couple promises were made. I've already seen an email today in regards to a follow-up of meeting with somebody from Prince George Fire Center to kind of go over maybe some of the lack of communication to our EOC and then back to us as mayor and council. They're trying before the 15th of October. At that same meeting, I asked, and I'm not going to say his last name because I don't have it fully, but having Darren, that he was the incident commander when the fire first, the Van Horn, thank you. Thanks, Chief Curry. I asked at that point if he would be available to come as well to give the overview from BC Wildfire Services, because to me, I don't want to speak on behalf of BC Wildfire Services not being out at the fire ground. And I think what that would do is, it helps the residents too. They understand the vitality that they had out there, what they were doing, what the response was, maybe how it was communicated back to the district, whether on Thursday morning, and how that process all worked. And I know when we first talked about doing this open house or debrief, let's talk concept, that I've talked with staff too about making sure that we have some of the detailed information from the EOC on the process by the time I signed the paperwork and how that went through and the timelines to the timelines of the alert and then the order and all those steps. So to me, we're going to have all that information. So to me, we have agencies there. Can't promise BC Wildfire Service. I mean, it seemed like, yes, that was doable from their side. We can circle back to confirm, and if not, maybe we can get something to read out. But yeah, I mean, we'd have the information from our EOC to read out. And if we want other people there, we just need to invite them. If we want Northern Health there, I mean, if Northern Health wants to come and partake and listen to it, I would think our EOC would have the details in regards to the vulnerable and how that worked with search and rescue, the RCMP. But to me, we would be inviting the RCMP, our local fire department as well, just in case there's input needed. Not that we want to put them on the spot. To me, the let's talk is for council to take the lead, and if there's heat, that's, I'll take the heat, that's my job. But we want to make sure that we hear directly from the residents, what worked, what didn't, what can we fix, and can we fix it? Can we make it better? And I think there's always room for betterment. So that was the process I was looking at. Councillor Dussault and Councillor Gillick.
I just want to agree with what everybody is saying out there, and just want to add, are those going to be salt and pepper or dill pickle?
No, we don't decide. We'll leave it up to staff if we're going to have finger food and what it is. Councillor Gillick.
I just wanted to follow up and say I think that's a good idea, and maybe the EOC and Chief Curry would be the best people to decide what that looks like, the format and stuff. And then if there's some follow-up questions, we can reach out to those organizations, because I agree then maybe we're putting them on a spot because I don't know what that's going to look like. Anyways, I'm fine to leave that up to Chief Curry and the EOC.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I was curious about who Councillor Julik was looking for specifically, but she answered that, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's pick a date. It's a no-go for Tuesday the 24th. Is Wednesday the 25th a good night? I apologize, I don't have young children or young youth in regards to figure skating and hockey. I know it's every day of the week, but from council's side, schedule-wise, is there any concerns? Or are we just going to pick a date? Councilor Norbury?
25th works well for me. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to do it October 25th. That's good with council? Okay, so if we can have staff, do you need anything from us? I mean, do you need a motion in regards to the date? Okay. Put a motion on the floor that we have staff prepare for Let's Talk / fire debrief from our evacuation on June 8th for October 25th at 6 p.m. Seconder. Council Norbury. Discussion. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the other thing I have, and it'll be at the PMP, but we have a PMP on the 16th of October. Oh, hang on a second. My apologies. PMP is on October 10th. I will also be calling a special meeting that night. So we'll have the PMP and then there'll be a special meeting that night. But just so that's pre-warned. We won't need a motion. I'll just be calling. I just want to give council a heads up that I'll be calling for a special meeting that night. Okay, is there any other issues with schedules? Anything from staff in regards to schedules?
Thank you. I know, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Notice of motions. Councillor Julik.
I would like to make a motion that we invite West Moberly First Nations and Soto First Nations to our zoning bylaw workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other notice motions? Council Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. That the District of Tumbler Ridge provides up to 10 hours of administrative support per month to the South Peace Health Services Society.
Okay, thank you. I have a notice of motion that staff bring forward the asphalt replacement policy. Okay, any other notice of motions? Okay, Councillor's business. Thanks, Councillor Julik. Councillor Clickash. Anything from the floor? Well, I'll start. I know a majority of council attended the UBCM. My own thoughts. I think we're really busy. I want to take the opportunity to thank council. I thanked you in Vancouver, but I know there was opportunities where we had to split up. I had to have council take on some meetings. So I want to thank you for that, especially some of the last minute stuff that we're receiving with the college for Council Norbury and then the Minister of Mental Health, right? You did the mental health and addictions. Councilor Dussault went to one, Councilor Julik. So again, thanks. That's what happens when we get down there. We get all these extra meetings. Councilor Noxana and I attended the ATVBC meeting. So I think in total, I attended 28 meetings in the amount of time that we were there. Fairly busy. It took me a few days to get back to normal, I guess, when I got back home. But I think overall, I think we had really, really good meetings. To me, when we went to some of them, how well prepared the ministry was. Obviously, it helps when we send our questions or concerns ahead of time. But for them to be ready and dialogue that and stuff, I think, to me, I think it just shows, again, thanks to staff for sending that stuff out on our behalf, but having that information and that dialogue before we go down there, it gives them the opportunity to do some of the background checks or some of the background information that we're looking for. Citizen services, I thought we're on the ball with the information they had. We didn't even have to do our presentation. They oh, you guys go ahead, but we have some news. Well, let's just hear your news. We don't want to. Why take up extra 4 or 5 minutes going through what we're asking for when you already have the answers? So I think that was really good. And their biggest concept there was the support that we've given through the PRD side of it for them to do some of the other internet and that out in those other areas will eventually assist us getting the loop into Tumbler Ridge. So we'll have the final loop done. No timeline on that, but that will assist Tumbler Ridge in regards to that. So they had that information. Again, we asked about the grants and stuff and making it more available for not just the big telecom companies, but also the municipalities, which it is available. We were informed then, so I think that was good. And then in dialogue with certain ministers, we were able to meet with Minister Maw face-to-face. Her senior chief of staff set that up for council. I think it was great to be able to meet the minister in person, thank her from our side, from the district of Tumbler Ridge, and reaching out to us when, to me, we were being evacuated. And if we needed anything, call her at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And then there were some staff members there that thanked us for actually taking the time to thank the minister. To me, what worked out of that was one of the MLAs that were there She's the MLA of Crest, and she actually sits on the trustee board for the tourism board. So when we had our tourism meeting, we dialogued after the meeting, and I said to her, like, oh, you come to the meeting? And she wasn't sure. She'd have to talk to the minister, but I don't think she talked to the minister, because when we got into the meeting, she said how I invited her. That's not what was said, but it's great to have that dialogue and those people there. The Minister of Tourism, I think we need to circle back there. There's some information that we got that I think we just need to circle back and get clarity from their side. Again, we asked for the support for our museum and the geopark in regards to staffing hours to help do the grants. I think they're going to look into that. Hopefully, they're going to look a little harder than when we went down in April. I'm not sure if anybody else wants to speak, but I thought they were great. You know, community foresting has a good update. I'm not sure if you guys have had a meeting yet, Council Norbury, to discuss what we've heard from Minister of Forestry in regards to that stumpage is not going to be increased in the near future in regards to the outlook that happened last year. They were talking about increasing stumpage. They're not doing that at this time. There was no timeline on when they will look at maybe doing it. They kind of kept that, didn't really give that information if it was going to be a year or 2 years, but I think that's great for our community forest side of the business. So I imagine Councilor Norbury will share it if he hasn't already. ATVBC, I think that was a good dialogue as well. There'll be a meeting being set up with ATVBC and some local representation just to have an overall view of it with hopefully with our sergeant when she's available and the ATV president. So I'm not sure of anything else from council. I don't want to take the whole seat here because you guys all attended. Councilor Noxana?
I just wanted to throw out that advocating for Canuma and their permitting schedule seemed to go really well, and that their executive team had heard back from some of the permitting offices that they were really impressed with the work that we've done together as a team.
Yeah, good catch. Councilor Julik.
There's just so much, I agree. There's just so much. The two things that I wanted to just mention was that we had a trade show booth there that seemed fairly busy. Councillor Noxana and Councillor Norbury put in some time there, and I think the mayor did as well. And our Dev, Jesse Olson, also did a presentation, and I was in another session later on, and somebody heard I was from Tumbler Ridge and couldn't say enough about Jesse and the presentation and the pictures and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to say hats off to staff for getting that done and showcasing us so well.
Yep, good. Yeah, and just to hit on that, Councilor Noxana, thanks for bringing that one up, and I was hoping somebody else would talk. And Canuma has reached out. They definitely heard back from the permitting, deputy minister, wherever it was from, but on how well, to me, we as a team went in there and showed that, you know, we are a team with Canuma. Canuma is important to Tumbler Ridge, and they were quite happy on how we presented ourselves within that meeting. I did hear back from Canuma in regards to another permit they were waiting for, and it was through forestry. It was after the fact, so I was able to meet with Ministry of Forest after our last resource breakfast and dialoguing with them right now. Just those permits were applied for in May, and it's regards to cutting some of the trees down at Quintet to start that operation. So there's some dialogue going on right now with that ministry. They were just looking for some clarity. So hopefully we can assist that way too to get those permits so they can start on that. But overall, like I said, it was busy. But again, that's our job, to go down there, advocate, whether it's for Canimical, PRC, community forest, our residents. I think Northern Health, we had a great meeting with Northern Health for the ones that can make it. Again, the dialogue there is always an opportunity to talk straight on with them, and meeting the new representative CEO from Northern Health, Chiro, right? Chiro. We talked about the long waits, the 6 to 8 weeks. He wasn't quite informed about that or well aware of that, so there's going to be some more dialogue and looked into that. So hopefully we'll see some uptick on that with the other doctor coming on board as well. But yeah, overall I think it was great. Thank again the staff, Mr. Woodward, and the staff that he brought along. Having the A there as well, I imagine we'll have some minutes coming forward that we can share. I know another staff member didn't attend with the district, but he was there in regards to Volunteer Fire Association. Just want to thank you for that too. Again, you're not there part of the district, you're there with a different hat. But to me, again, you know, it just shows that we have such a strong volunteerism in Tumble Ridge, you're down there doing that. So appreciate that from our side back to staff for all the hard work you guys did down there as well. I think it helps us. To me, it makes council shine when we have staff there to do the support, take the notes and stuff like that, and set up those last-minute meetings. One of them was with BC Wildfire Services. The EA was able to set that meeting up. I invited the chair from the PRD as well. That meeting was well. We're waiting for those meetings to happen. But again, it's about getting the communication back to EOC, not directly to council, but making sure EOC is getting the proper information from out there. And, hopefully we don't see that for 2024. But again, they talk about that, looking into the years in the future and stuff like that. So other things I attended the fire department's open house on Sunday. Again, well done by the volunteer fire department. Many families out and wives out, as well as residents. I didn't stay for the whole cutting of the truck, but people were, I'm not sure if they ended up bidding on the doors and stuff, that people wanted the doors off the truck and the tailgate and the bumper. But again, I think it's great to see our volunteers spend a Sunday afternoon down to Fire Hall showing our residents, the trucks. The children and the youth love that, eating their hot dogs in the truck and stuff like that. And then just being able to play with the fire equipment, the hoses, and being able to see them use the jaws and what it does, and CPR and stuff like that. I think, again, hats off to the volunteer fire department to give up the time to our residents. I think it's great job. Well done. Maybe a pancake breakfast next year would be great, because I love my pancakes and sausages. But no, hats off to the fire department. The other thing I went to was yesterday in regards to the pump track grand opening for the downhill trails and the jump track. And that was well attended to. We had Brad Sperling come up from the PRD. And there's quite a few residents, lots of out-of-towners that were in town yesterday. So it was great to see that. They did a great job. The Tumble Ridge Mountain Bike Association, outstanding. I know I've seen Councillor Noxana there and Councillor Noberry. Councillor Dussault was at the fire house. So it's great when council makes it out too. Just shows that we are, we're supportive of all the organizations that are doing stuff. I got one more, I think, and then I'll go to council again. I went to the leadership table. So what the leadership table is all the First Nation chiefs, all the mayors in the piece, as well as the electoral area directors. We meet wherever. This time we met again in Fort St. John. All the chiefs couldn't make it this time, but again, we pretty much did Treaty 101, something like we did today with the culture awareness safety training, a little bit more in depth about the treaty and the understandings of the treaty. That was one of the better ones I've been at since they've started the leadership table. And again, there'll be more dialogue when it comes to the leadership table. Going to reach out. There was talk about maybe moving the meeting around to the piece, in the piece. We're going to leave that up to the chiefs in the nations, just because some of them have to halfway and stuff like that have to travel a long way to come into Fort St. John. But when I talk about moving it around, I mentioned it to all the group that was there, that it's not just let's meet in Fort St. John. What stops us from meeting out at one of the nations? It's not just come meet in Tumble Ridge. Let us come out to West Moberly or halfway or that, to see their area as well. So. The chiefs are very impressed on how many mayors and electoral directors are showing up and how we think it's so important to be there. One of the chiefs did mention that, could we imagine going to Victoria or to the UBCM, wherever it is, and we all get 15 minutes, and how much time we would have with a minister if just the leadership table was to go instead of a 15-minute speed dating that we see in the UBCM. So. I think there'll be more dialogue from the leadership table. Dale Bumstead right now is leading it, and we're just starting the table of references and stuff like that now through that. So I think it'll be a great thing for the piece, not just Tumble Ridge, but all of us as partners and neighbors and stuff. I think it's going to be great. Councillor Julik.
I just, when we were talking about Northern Health, I remembered that we were awarded the South Peace Division of Family Practice. I don't know that will be what the name is of it. They have to form a society. It's quite a deal. On the upside, it helps us continue with the primary care network for our area, which is the goal is when that's open that we have a few more streamlined services and access to a few more funds and stuff. So I'd just like to put a thank you out to our medical people in our community who did all that hard work to make sure that happened. And all the other folks that are all involved in that. But it's a pretty big deal from what I can tell. So as I'm still learning all the bells and whistles of that kind of thing, but it's pretty cool. So just wanted to mention that.
Yep, good catch. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Kakalka. I did want to update council on a South Peace Health Services Society meeting I was a part of. I apologize. I normally like to send out my written minutes, but I travel to and from Dawson Creek for an evening meeting, so by the time I get home, it's about 10 o'clock. So, I just want to let everyone know that we had our AGM, and over the last year, we've lost 4 members, and we're down to 4 or 5 members currently to run the society, and we're in charge of the Boltry's House, a locum house, and a nurse's rental unit in Dawson Creek. So we hosted our AGM. We are going to be continuing with our new financial audits, getting those up into place, and coming up with ideas for recruitment and retention. So if anybody knows of any individuals who have a passion for healthcare recruitment and retention, please send them my way. We'll get them to work. So thanks.
I guess, Councilor Norbury, just on that note, is it worth maybe us doing a campaign, advertise a campaign looking for board members for you?
I'll have to bring that to the board, and I want to make sure that we have equal representation across the region because it's a regional asset. But, maybe I'll keep that in the back pocket if that's okay.
Yeah, you could just ask the board, and maybe we don't do it through the District of Tumber Ridge, but through the PRRD where we hit all the municipalities outlining Dawson Creek, right? So maybe it's better done there, but if you can just touch base and let me know, it could be something I bring forward through the PRRD, that we do it through the PRRD. And just in regards to that, is there any other updates in regards to your taxes and stuff like that in regards to your housing? Councilor Norbury?
Nothing official yet, Mayor Kakalka.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any other councilors' business? Okay. Question and answer period. Was there any emailed questions? Mr. Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, there was none.
Okay, thank you. Okay, resolution to a closed meeting, that the October 3rd, 2023 regular council meeting be closed to the public according to section 91 G and J of the community charter to prevent discussion about litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality and information that is prohibited, or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information Protection of Privacy Act. Seconder. Councilor Dusso. All in favor? Carried. 5-minute break.